Team709 here on the Chronomaly YouTube channel for a deck profile for you guys. I know we should be doing Deck Doctor this week, but I came across a really interesting card that I wanted to kind of build a deck, that it involves basically, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I found it to be kind of an interesting card, and it came out of Premium Gold, believe it or not. So, I mean, there's that, and it's not the field spell for Chronomalies. Before we kind of get there, we already know that that card is rather decent, if nothing else. There was just another more interesting card that I actually am surprised that I never really paid any attention to when the set was like originally leaked, or at least all the cards and their information. But yeah, anyways, in case you couldn't already tell, this is kind of like a TCG version of the Artifact Chronomaly deck that Japan used to play a lot of. Unfortunately, the TCG does not have access to Neberdisc just yet. We may get it in like the Jump or maybe an import or something. I wonder how the TCG will handle that whenever that happens, but I guess that'll be later down the line. And as for now, we have a very limited supply of what we can really do with the deck. So it can be kind of pushed forward, it can be altered around a bit, tweaked, whatever you want to call it, and made better, I would say. But just kind of like the idea I wanted to bring to people, and I figured I'd share what I'm currently on. So when we get to the one card that kind of inspired me, quote unquote, to build this deck, I'll explain it, but yeah. So let's just get into the deck. Starting with the monsters, we have 3 Moral Attacks, 2 Artifact Beagle Attack, 3 Chronomaly Crystal Bones. I like how the name's still O-Parts for Devro. I'm surprised they just said that, whatever. Continuing on, we have 3 Chronomaly Crystal Skull, 3 Chronomaly Golden Jet, 3 Chronomaly Guardian Knot. I'll explain this when we get done. This is the actual card I was talking about, though. And the last monster is 3 Chronomaly Moai. I think that's how you pronounce that. Moving on to the spells, we have 3 Upstart Goblins to kind of help get through our deck a little bit faster. 2 Artifact Ignition. Sorry. 1 Chronomaly Pyramid Eye Tablet. And we have 1 Chronomaly City Babylon and the Regeki. We'll explain cards when we get to the end, whatever. So traps, we have 3 Artifact Sanctum, 2 Breakthrough Skills, 2 Dimensional Prisons, 2 Vanity's Emptiness, 1 Bottomless Trapple, 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, and 1 Solemn Warning. For the extra deck, we have 2 Constellar Pleiades, 1 Artifact Durendal, 1 number 61 Volcasaurus, 1 Tyrus Keeper of Genesis, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Castel the Sky Blaster Musketeer, 1 Evil's Remix Titanite, 1 Gargoyle Cowboy, 1 Levolvo Chain, 1 number 101 Silent Arc, 1 Dante Traveler of the Burning Abyss, 1 Ghost Trick Alucard, 1 Gorgonic Guardian, and 1 Levier the Sea Dragon. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the artifact does, or the artifacts do, English. So I don't know if I really need to explain those. For anyone who does not know anything about the crystal, or not the crystal, but the Chronomaly stuff, Crystal Bones is kind of like a Cyber Dragon. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. If you do, you can special summon 1 Chronomaly monster from your hand or your graveyard, except for another Crystal Bones. Again, continuing on, in case people don't know what some of these cards do, Chronomaly Crystal Skull is kind of like a fabled Grimro. If you happen to control a face-up Chronomaly monster, you can discard this card from your hand to the graveyard to add any 1 Chronomaly monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, except for another Crystal Skull. This effect can only be used, once per turn, so you can't just, herp derp. I mean, there's that. Moving on to the next one, which is Golden Jet. It's kind of a standard 1 effect monster. Once per turn, you can increase the level of every single Chronomaly monster you currently control by 1. I believe it is a permanent increase. It doesn't say until the end of the turn, so I'm assuming that it is. So yeah, there's that. We're gonna get to the other one last. Moai, for anyone who doesn't know what this one does either, if you happen to control a face-up Chronomaly monster, you can special summon it from your hand in defense position. So, I mean, just kind of a level 5 that you can just put on board for no reason, really. Lastly, we have Chronomaly Guardian Knot. This card debuted here in America in Premium Gold. It is a level 3 Earth Rock monster with 300 attack and 900 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon any 1 Chronomaly monster from your hand, and if you do, this card's level becomes the summoned monster's level. So you can special summon Golden Jet, make it a 4. If you happen to do this with Golden Jet, you can also make it into a 5 with Golden Jet because, it becomes 4 and then it gets another level because of Golden Jet's effect. You can special summon Moai. They both become 5s. You can overlay into whatever you want, really. You can summon another 3. It's already a 3, so you can overlay for a rank 3. So, I mean, it has a lot of just interesting plays that it can, you know, start or make. It has a lot of things that it can really kind of go into and do. A lot of interaction, really, at least the way that I see it and the way it's actually played for me so far. Really interesting card. Don't know if 3 is the ideal number here. Then again, there's not much like good when it comes to Chronomaly wise stuff that we have that the TCG or that the TCG has. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like that free I can exceed something if you have Chronomalies in your hand. So just seems like a very solid card, at least to me. So next thing I want to kind of cover again, because if not everyone knows what Chronomalies do, we're going to cover them anyways. The Chronomaly Pyramid Eye Tablet, it's a continuous spell. As long as it remains face up on the field, all Chronomaly monsters you control gain 800 attack. Moai is an 1800, so it instantly becomes 26. Crystal Bones is a 13, so it's 21. I mean, like Crystal Skull, like all these things just become really decent, if not big, and become kind of a problem to get over. And then I'm not sure if anyone saw other things, but you know, whatever. My mouse is being retarded. Anyways, anyone who does not know what Babylon does, it is a field spell. Once per turn, you can banish any one Chronomaly monster in your graveyard, then target one Chronomaly monster in your graveyard with the same level as the banished monster and special summon it. You happen to play at least 9 level 3s, so I mean, being able to just make maybe a rank 3 is not that difficult. I mean, there's that. You also can just, you know, banish to get one of the other ones back if you find it ideal. Either way, it's still kind of just there to kind of help get a monster on board if you need it, as well as being able to make those late game rank plays, whether it be rank 3 or if you happen to have like a Moai in hand, you can special summon one from your graveyard if you have the other 2 there or something. Things like that. It's kind of a very card. I'm still kind of testing it. I may even drop it for something else, but it's played okay so far. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything else in the main deck that we need to explain. Durendal is kind of an interesting card, at least for this deck. You can use it whenever your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, or when a normal spell or trap card is activated, you can detach and make them destroy one of your spell and trap cards instead. So you can kind of force them to potentially trigger, you know, your Moral Attack, your Beagle Attack, maybe you know the Sanctum, or hell even Ignition. You can just make them try to blow it up. So I mean, it's kind of nice to kind of be like, oh, your shit all activates on the field. Nope, it does not. I'm going to be changing its effect to destroying one of my spell and trap cards instead. Not to mention, if you have a shitty hand, I guess you can always just, you know, return both players' hands back to the deck and draw the same number of cards. I mean, if that's up your alley. But yeah. Dante is kind of an interesting card. It does kind of play okay well, like, you know, with Babylon, like late game, you can maybe get the other level in your graveyard so you can banish and summon something back and maybe make another play with it or something. But it's also kind of just there to be a 2500 wall that can also be a 2500 attacker to get over some major threats, maybe something like that. So I mean, it's just kind of there for that kind of situation. And then the last thing I know I need to probably explain, because you know, not many people play cards like these anymore, because it's usually just meta everything. It is called Gorgonic Guardian, as I said when we were covering the deck list. It is a rank 3 dark rock effect monster, obviously. It requires 2 level 3 rock type monsters. Once per turn, during another player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 0, and if it does, its effects are negated. These effects last until the end of this turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster on the field with 0 attack and destroy it. So, level 3 rock, level 3 rock, level 3 rock. Just kind of putting that out there. Not to mention that you can use this like during damage step and stuff. You can, like, okay, I'm going to make your attack 0. And if you happen to use the effect on your turn, you can even use her last effect to destroy a monster with her own effect, so you can still attack and do whatever. So it's kind of a really solid card for this deck. It's something I've always actually kind of wanted to play, because I remember reading it when it first came out, and I was like, wow, this is really good. But yeah, it's just a really solid rank 3 to play in this deck, so that's part of the reason why it's here. So I don't know about you guys. I think that Guardian's actually a very interesting card, maybe even very solid. It's still in testing, of course, like the whole idea of using it. But let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys have a deck that you want to get fixed, be sure to message it here on the No Limit YouTube channel by going to our channel, going to the Devat section, and clicking send message. Hopefully we can get to it in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, so don't know if I really need to continue from here. If you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and until next time, this is Team709 signing out.